The New American Standard Bible, Leviticus. So, yesterday we read up to chapter 4, burnt offerings, grain offerings, peace offerings, and sin offerings. And we essentially just captured, look, um, for bread or cakes, you can't have any leaven, it must be salted. Can't have honey either. And also for for meat offerings, like the bull, goat, sheep, or dove, they can't be hurt. They can't be injured. They must be healthy in full condition. And also, um, uh, what else? You can't eat the blood, and the fat must be left out of the equation and left over to the priest. So here we go, folks. Let's continue on with chapter 5, the law of guilt offerings. Now, if a person sins after he hears a public order to testify when he is a witness, whether he has seen or otherwise known, if he does not tell it, then he will bear his punishment, jury duty. Or if a person touches any unclean thing, whether a carcass of an unclean animal, or the carcass of unclean cattle, or a carcass of unclean swarming things, though it is hidden from him and he is unclean, then he will be guilty. Or if he touches human uncleanness, or whatever sort of uncleanness may be with which he becomes unclean, and it is hidden from him, and then he becomes to know it, then he will be guilty. Or if a person swears thoughtlessly with his lips to do evil or to do good in whatever matter people speak thoughtlessly with an oath, and it is hidden from him, and then he comes to know it, he will be guilty of one of these things. So it shall be when he becomes guilty of one of these things that he shall confess that in which he has sinned. He shall also bring his guilt offering to the Lord for his sin which he has committed, a female from the flock, a lamb or a goat as a sin offering. So the priest shall make atonement on his behalf for his sin. Um, but if he cannot afford a lamb, then he shall bring to the Lord his guilt offering for that in which he has sinned, 2 turtle doves or 2 young doves. One is a sin offering, the other as a burnt offering. He shall bring them to the priest, who shall first offer that which is for the sin offering, and shall pitch off his head at the front of his neck, but he shall not sever it. He shall also sprinkle some of the blood of the sin offering on the side of the altar, while the rest of the blood shall be drained out at the base of the altar. It is a sin offering. The second he shall then prepare as a burnt offering according to the ordinance. So the priest shall make atonement on his behalf for a sin which he has committed, and it will be forgiven him. But if his but if his means are insufficient for turtle doves or 2 young doves, then for his offering for that which he has sinned, he shall bring the tenth of an ephah of the fine flour as an offering. He shall not put oil on it or place incense on it, for it is a sin offering. He shall bring it to the priest, and the priest shall take his handful of it as its memorial portion, and offer it up in smoke on the altar with the offering to the Lord by fire. It is a sin offering. So the priest shall make atonement for him concerning the sin which he has committed from one of these, and it will be forgiven him. Then the rest shall become the priest, like the grain offering. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, if a person acts unfaithfully and sins unintentionally against the Lord's holy things, then he shall bring his guilt offering to the Lord, a ram without defect from the flock, according to your assessment in silver by shekels, in terms of the shekel of the sanctuary, as a guilt offering. And he shall make restitution for that which he has sinned against the holy thing, and shall add to it a fifth part of it and give it to the priest. The priest shall then make atonement for him with the ram, the guilt offering, and it will be forgiven him. Now, if a person sins and does any of the things which the Lord has commanded not to be done, though he was unaware, he is still guilty and shall bear his punishment. He is then to bring to the priest a ram without defect for the flock, according to your assessment, as a guilt offering. So the priest shall make atonement for him concerning the sin which he committed unintentionally and did not know it, and it will be forgiven him. It is a guilt offering. He was certainly guilty before the Lord. I'm not going to summarize chapter 5. In fact, I'm not, this time I'm not going to summarize anything. Maybe at the end. Chapter 6, guilt offering. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, when the person sins and acts unfaithfully against the Lord and disavows the rightful claim of his neighbor regarding a deposit or a security entrusted to him, or regarding robbery, or he has extorted from his neighbor, or has found what was lost and lied about it and sworn falsely, so that he sins regarding any of the things that people do, then it shall be when he sins and becomes guilty that he um hold on shall restore what he took by robbery or acquired by extortion, or the deposit which was entrusted to him, or the lost property which he found, or anything about which he swore falsely. He shall make restitution for it in full, and add to it a fifth more. He shall give it to the one whom it belongs on the day he presents his guilt offering. Then he shall bring to the priest his guilt offering to the Lord, a ram without defect for the flock, according to your assessment as a guilt offering. And the priest shall make atonement for him before the Lord, and he will be forgiven for any one of the things which he may have done to incur guilt. Brief part of the offerings. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, command Aaron and his sons, saying, this is the law for the burnt offering. The burnt offering itself shall remain on the hearth on the altar all night until the morning, and the fire on the altar is to be kept burning on it. The priest shall the priest is to put on his linen robe, and he shall put on his linen undergarments next to his body, and he shall take up the fatty ashes to which the fire reduces the burnt offering on the altar and place them beside the altar. Then he shall take off his garments and put on the other garments and carry the fatty ashes outside the camp to a clean place. The fire on the altar shall be kept burning on it, it shall not go out, but the priest shall burn wood on it every morning, and he shall lay out the burnt offering on it, and offer up and smoke the fat portions of the peace offerings on it. Fire shall be kept burning continually on the altar. It is not to go out. Now, this is the law of the grain offering. The sons of Aaron shall present it before the Lord in front of the altar. Then one of them shall lift up from a handful of the fine flour of the grain offering, with the soil and all the incense that it is on the grain offering. And he shall offer it up in smoke on the altar, a soothing aroma, as its memorial offering to the Lord. And Aaron and his sons are to eat what is left of it. It shall be eaten as unleavened cakes in a holy place. They are to eat it in the courtyard of the tent of meeting. It shall not be baked with leaven. I have given it as their share from my offerings by fire. It is most holy, like the sin offering and the guilt offering. Every male among the sons of Aaron may eat it. It is a permanent ordinance throughout your generations, from the offerings by fire to the Lord. Whoever touches them will become consecrated. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, This is the offering which Aaron and his sons are to present to the Lord on the day when he is appointed. The tenth of an ephah of fine flour is a regular grain offering, half of it in the morning and half of it in the evening. It shall be prepared with oil on a griddle. When it is well stirred, you shall bring it. You shall present the grain offering in baked pieces as a soothing aroma to the Lord. The anointed priest who will be in his place among his sons shall offer it. By a permanent ordinance, it shall be entirely offered up in smoke to the Lord. So every grain offering of the priest shall be burnt entirely. It shall not be eaten. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron his son, saying, This is the law of the sin offering. In the place where the burnt offering is slaughtered, the sin offering shall be slaughtered before the Lord. It is most holy. The priest who offers it for sin shall eat it. It shall be eaten in a holy place, um, in the courtyard of the tent of meeting. Whoever touches his flesh will become consecrated, and when any of its blood spatters on a garment, you shall wash what spattered on it in a holy place. Also, the earthenware vessel in which it was boiled shall be broken. If it was boiled in a bronze vessel, then it shall be scoured and rinsed in water. Every male among the priests may eat it. It is most holy. But no sin offering of which any of the blood is brought into the tent of meeting to make atonement in the holy place shall be eaten. It shall be burned with fire. Chapter 7. The priest pardoned the offerings. Now, this is the law of the guilt offering. It is most holy. In the place where they slaughter the burnt offering, they are to slaughter the guilt offering, and the priest shall sprinkle its blood around on the altar. Then he shall offer from it all its fat, the fat tail and the fat that covers the entrails, and the two kidneys with the fat that is on them, which is on the loins. And he shall remove the lobe and the liver with the kidneys. Priest shall offer them up in smoke on the altar as an offering by fire to the Lord. It is a guilt offering. Every male among the priests may eat it. It shall be eaten in a holy place. It is most holy. The guilt offering is like the sin offering. There is one law for them. The priest who makes atonement with it shall have it. Also, the priest who presents anyone's burnt offering, that priest shall have for himself the hide of the burnt offering which he has presented. Likewise, every grain offering that is baked in the oven and everything prepared in a pan or in a griddle shall belong to the priest who presents it. Every grain offering mixed with oil or dry shall belong to all the sons of Aaron, to all alike. Now, this is the law of the sacrifice of peace offerings, which shall be presented to the Lord. If he offers it by way of thanksgiving, then along with the sacrifice of thanksgiving, he shall offer unleavened cakes mixed with oil and unleavened wafers spread with oil, and cakes of well stirred fine flour mixed with oil. With the sacrifice of his peace offerings for thanksgiving, he shall present his offering with cakes of leavened bread. Ooh, leavened bread. So this is the one time that they do use leavened bread. Of this he shall present one of every offering as a contribution to the Lord. It shall belong to the priest who sprinkles the blood of the peace offering. Now, as for the flesh of the sacrifice of his thanksgiving peace offerings, it shall be eaten on the day of his offering. He shall not leave any over it over until morning. But if the sacrifice of his offering is a vow or a voluntary offering, it shall be eaten on the day that he offers his sacrifice. And on the next day, what is left of it may be eaten. But what is left over from the flesh of the sacrifice on the third day shall be burnt with fire. So if any of the flesh of the sacrifice of his peace offerings is ever eaten on the third day, he who offers it will not be accepted, and it will not be credited to him. It will be an unclean thing, and the person who eats it shall bear his punishment. Also, the flesh that touches anything unclean shall not be eaten. It shall be burned with fire. As for the flesh, anyone who is clean may eat such flesh. But the person who eats the flesh of the sacrifice of peace offerings which belong to the Lord when he is unclean, that person shall be cut off from his people. When anyone touches anything unclean, whether human uncleanness or an unclean animal, or any unclean, detestable things, and eats of the flesh of the sacrifice of peace offerings, which belong to the Lord, that person shall be cut off from his people. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to all the sons of Israel, saying, you shall not eat any fat from an ox, a sheep, or a goat. Also, the fat of an animal which dies, and the fat of an animal torn by animals may be put to any other use, but you certainly are not to eat it. Hold on. Whoever eats the fat of the animal from by fire food to the Lord, the person who eats it shall also be cut off from his people. And you are not to eat any blood, either of bird or animal, in any of your dwellings. Any person who eats any blood, that person shall be cut off, shall also be cut off from his people. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the sons of Israel, saying, he who offers the sacrifice of his peace offering to the Lord shall bring his offering to the Lord from the sacrifice of his peace offerings. His own hands are to bring offerings by fire to the Lord. He shall bring the fat with the breast, that the breast may be presented as a wave offering before the Lord. And the priest shall offer up the fat in smoke on the altar, but the breast shall belong to Aaron and to his sons. And you shall give the right thigh to the priest as a contribution from the sacrifices of your peace offerings. The one among the sons of Aaron who offers the blood of the peace offerings and the fat, the right thigh shall be his as his portion. For I have taken from the sons of Israel the breast of the wave offering and the thigh of the contribution from the sacrifices of their peace offerings, and have given them to Aaron the priest and to his sons as their allotted portion forever for the sons of Israel. This is the allotment to Aaron and the allotment to his sons from the offerings by fire to the Lord on that day when he presented them to serve as priests to the Lord. These the Lord had commanded to be given them from the sons of Israel on the day that he anointed them. It is their allotted portion forever throughout their generations. This is the law of the burnt offering, the grain offering, the sin offering, and the guilt offering, and the ordination offering, and sacrifice of peace offerings, which the Lord commanded Moses on Mount Sinai on the day that he commanded the sons of Israel to present their offerings to the Lord in the wilderness of Sinai. The word of the Lord. Praise be to God. Okay, so um finished in under 19 minutes, it looks like. Okay, so um try to summarize it quickly. Essentially, 5 covers guilt offerings. When somebody is guilty of something, they shall offer um, either a lamb or turtle doves or young doves, or they shall offer fine flour without oil, or depending on other stuff, they could also offer a ram without defect, or um, what else? Well, that's chapter 5. Chapter 6, um, if somebody, chapter 5 is, for example, if you miss jury duty, By the way, the beginning of chapter 5 explains jury duty, missing out jury duty, the punishment. Also, if you touch an unclean animal and stuff. So, chapter 6 is if you rob or you possess somebody else's stuff and you won't tell them that you found it, that's what it's calling on. Um, Another ram without blemish, and then the priest. Um, Essentially, they will eat unleavened cakes without leaven. The only time that it mentions that it could eat leaven, I think, is in chapter 7, perhaps. But it also says who can eat it and who cannot. Um, the priest who offers it for sin shall eat it. Okay, chapter 7, verse 13 of Leviticus. That's the only time where the Lord permits leaven. But yeah, um, it also tells you if you do this and that, you'll be cut off from your kind. So yeah, um, yeah, that's chapter 7, and I know I didn't summarize it much, but those are chapters 5, 6, and 7, and that is it for the Bible. We will continue with chapter 8, the consecration of Aaron and his sons, tomorrow. But right now, go in peace and seek the love of the Lord. Thank you for watching.